Well, now I'd like you to talk about something together for about 3 minutes. I'd like you to imagine that a school is planning a short trip to another country to help the students to learn about life there. Here are some things that the students could do during the trip. First, talk to each other about how these different things could help the students to learn about life in another country. Then decide which two would be most useful for the students. All right?
Here there are some students like in a market, I think.
Yeah.
They're watching souvenirs, and I think they're in an oriental place because there's some thing.
Yeah. And I think
What do you
that's
think?
very useful to go in these kind of markets, because that's very typical, and that shows the typical things that we have in the country.
But don't you think it's like they don't get contact to inhabitants of that country, so they don't know how they
Yeah.
live?
So that's not the most useful thing to do. I think this is very nice to go in a host family, because that's the best way you learn how the people live in the country, like you, their customs and all the things they do.
But I think also visiting like the museums shows you the history and how.
Yeah, but
and
like
why.
in the museum there are things and pieces of art that come from all the countries of the world. So that's not typical from a country,
but
you know.
It could show you how the history evolved and how it got to this point.
Yeah, but you have museums and they're like all the same in all the country. So
That's also true. And going to a theater, would it be like nice or helpful?
yeah, that's nice, and like that's a good way to learn the language. But that's the same. We all have the same theaters in all over the world. So
But I think like in London, it's usual to go to see a musical like Mamma Mia, or
yeah,
so it would be like
yeah, that's
also sightseeing. I really like it because you see the view and all the
yeah.
important things.
They're on the bus, I think so. Like
Yeah,
yeah, and they're like doing all the
trip.
way to.
And what?
Yeah, that's cool because you really see the view in the country, and so you do a trip like all around the city, and that's very nice and very important to discover the city, I think.
I think going to a football match is not so useful because you only look at people throwing a ball.
Yeah, and
You
but
don't-
that's because in some of the country, football is like very important. So like the inhabitants must be very interested in that's like a custom or something to go to a football match. So that can be interesting.
Maybe.
And that is people working in a school.
I think it's useful if you go in
Yeah.
a school in that country, but if you study the country from the country where you live and you study like the language and the custom, it's not so useful because you will not learn it like properly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can I have the booklet, please?